You know, one of the best things about owning your own content, your own show, is when I feel like it, much to the chagrin of my sponsors, I can say I just want some time just to talk to you. And so I'm getting rid of all the commercials for the next half hour so you and I can have a talk. Because yesterday I was driving through the rain to visit a friend, and it was a powerful storm just coming down in buckets. It was dark and stormy, and that was on the way there. Then I went into my friend's house, and I came out about 3 hours later, and it was bright and beautiful, and it looked like a completely different neighborhood. Nothing had changed except the storm had stopped, and the clouds began to part. On the way back, I was driving through this farming community. As it was bright and sunny, I saw people no longer cowering or running into their homes or their stores or avoiding the storm, but they were back to work as if nothing had happened. And they had recognized that the storm, the water that came from that storm, was a blessing. That storm made it so we could go on growing and feeding and helping ourselves, our families, and others. And as I was driving through the canyons, I began to think, and I got home and I wrote some things down that I want to share with you. Because this week has been both the best of weeks and the worst of weeks. We have seen the lies that many of us knew were lies laid bare for the world to see, and many Americans finally going, wait a minute, what? We have seen the brave step forward with nothing to hide, yet a ton to fear. But we've also seen the depths of man's depravity, the arrogance of the elite, and the corruption of justice. We have witnessed the illusion of power. So I wanted to take a minute today and just shatter that illusion and remind you of the reality of who we are and what lies just ahead. But first, I want you just to take a second and breathe. Breathe deep. And then breathe in the spirit of the brave leaders who have carried us through the moments of triumph and uncertainty. Breathe in Washington at Valley Forge, Lincoln, who died to set men free. Breathe in the spirit of FDR, who fought the monsters overseas that actually believed in inferior races and useless life. He stood despite his wheelchair, the very thing that made them believe he was weak and useless, made him strong and determined to see our ship through the storm. Breathe in the times we felt strength and hope from JFK and Ronald Reagan as the world inched closer to nuclear annihilation. Breathe in the brave Americans like Martin Luther King, who dared to remind us of our highest ideals, that all men are created equal, and doing it while knowing it may cost him his life, but knowing in the end it would set free the powerful force of an entire race, and in doing so would smash the shackles of racism of all involved, white, black, brown, red, yellow. Breathe in the spirits of their resilience and their stories that remind us of the strength we all harness when we stand in unity. We're not strangers to adversity. And yet in the face of overwhelming odds, we're renowned for rising from the ashes of defeat, stronger, wiser, and even more united. Too many of us now doubt that this American unity that we found in the rubble of Pearl Harbor or the Twin Towers will be true again as we deal with what approaches. Do not doubt. Do not fear. The forces of darkness may feel powerful and in charge right now, but they are merely the whispers and the shadows and the echoes of ancient lies. They will be defeated again, but only when the truth is no longer held captive by fear. Our nation is the epitome of freedom, the birthplace of freedom by being the birthplace of opportunity, a beacon for those seeking the liberty to steer their own destiny. The alluring prospect of freedom is not just a lofty ideal, but it is a living testament to the human spirit, one that stands antithetical to the constraints of Marxism and other failed ideas. Our great country rebukes such a doctrine that undermines the human essence, the inherent right to independence, the power to define one's own course. We're a nation built on the pillars of compassion and justice. Yet in these trying times, we seem to forget that compassion is our virtue, but it can be our vice. Because if it's left unchecked, if compassion is detached from eternal truths, this virtue will morph into a weapon of mass destruction. We have to strive to find a balance, nurturing empathy and compassion while adhering to the truths that have guided us thus far. The freedom to carve our own path also implies the responsibility to contribute, to work, to strive for excellence, not just personal gain, but to uplift our brothers and sisters. The American dream isn't solely about achieving personal success. In fact, I don't think it's attached to that at all. It's about charting your own course and about lifting all those around us, nurturing the collective good. We will lose our path if we don't recognize that it is high time that we restored our self-evident truths regarding gender, family, blind justice, integrity, and our basic human rights. These principles are the foundation of our society, and if we reinstate them, we will pave the way for the next great chapter of the American narrative. Freedom of speech and thought, they're pillars upon which our society rests. The ability to question, to seek truth, to challenge norms, define our human nature. Since birth, we as children have an inherent curiosity, and that should never be stifled or restricted. Our capacity to ask why, what, how. That is the thread that weaves the very fabric of our being human and our drive to learn, explore, and grow. We stand on the precipice of demanding and times of trial, laden with complex questions and potentially tougher answers. But if we rally behind our Bill of Rights, we uphold personal responsibility and acknowledge that we are not infallible, that neither the corporations, the elites, the latest algorithm, nor governments are omnipotent. We can navigate this storm together, but we must simply acknowledge God remains God, and we are not nor ever will be Him. Kindness and understanding and the willingness to embrace disagreement have been the lifeblood of our democracy. We've always been a nation that not only tolerates, but fights for the rights of those with divergent views to express themselves. This is uniquely American. This value is a testament to the strength of our commitment to freedom. As we face our challenges head on, we must remember the virtues and the values that set us apart on this continent. Let us be guided by our shared commitment to the freedoms that we hold dear. It's only this way that we can build a better future for all Americans. There is a new horizon waiting for us. It beckons us to recalibrate, to renew ourselves, and to chart a course that is reflective of the diverse, the vibrant, and resilient spirit that has always been quintessentially American. It's our unity, not our diversity. Unity is our strength. Our commitment to the freedom of the individual to seize the opportunity that is just over the threshold of tomorrow. That's our anchor. With unity and the individual, with these, we'll write a new, invigorating chapter in our shared American story. It's not going to be some internet mob, some angry, misguided malcontents who march and burn and destroy, nor a puffed-up army of government administrators or an all-powerful executive. But it will be us as individuals in our own way, in our own lives, simply by uniting under the banner that we still hold these ideas as self-evident truths. That all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. And let me emphasize that this same government in the next line derives their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's you. That's not some distant pencil pusher you never voted for, not some foreign body or collection of people who have absolutely no power in their forums. That's you. Break the shackles of the lies and illusions. Make a commitment to speak only the truths that unite us and have united us for centuries. Do all that you can do to restore the faith in one another again. Yes, we're different. Yes, we disagree. But we must unite on what we have in common. And those things are those self-evident principles. If you can't say that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator, if you cannot agree with the Bill of Rights, heck, give me 8 out of the 10. If you can't speak the words that those words are true and the highest ideals that any country has ever espoused, and yes, we don't live up to it all the time. We have had very dark periods in our country, but we have also had unbelievable light. Whatever the government may have done from time to time, don't put that on my door. I wasn't born. I wasn't around. I didn't have the right to vote at that time. What the government is doing in my lifetime is a reflection of me if they answer to the people, which they no longer do. They are no longer restrained by the governed, who give them their just powers. I haven't seen a just power in quite some time. Breathe in, Washington. Breathe in, King. Breathe in the good times. Breathe in the times where we were at each other's throats, but we came back together because we had a common purpose. I hear people on the right now talk about a new founding, an unrestrained executive. that we are too far gone. We need to forget and stop conserving what is good and start reimagining. No, we do not need a new founding. We do not need a reimagining. We need a reset. We need a rediscovery. We need a recommitment. We need a restoration of truth, of God, and the power he gives each of us to rule over our own lives and our passions and our feelings. So many times I fear we're not going to make it. So many times I fear and feel like I felt in my pickup truck driving to my friend's house yesterday. Jeez, look at this storm. Look at the damage that it's doing. But I promise you, we'll weather the storm if we understand that it's temporary, that our fear is not real. If we curse the storm after the storm, we haven't learned a thing. I thank God for the storm. I thank God for the storms of my life. I thank God for all of the things that, I've been through and you've been through. We all have our storms. We all have our problems. We all struggle. All of us struggle. Thank God for that, because I am a stronger man and I am a better man for that. Thank you for the rain. It has helped me grow. It washes away the dirt and the grime. It purifies. That's why we have baptism. That's what that means. It washes away all of the grime and the filth. And you know why it works? Because those of us who have seen the change in our life, needed the change in our life, and we had faith that this water and being immersed in that water would perform miracles in our lives. If we didn't believe, if we didn't strive for, if we didn't do the basic work, that water would just be water. The clouds are breaking. Shadows only exist because there is a light somewhere. And as the shadows grow more defined and darker and more menacing, realize that's only because the light has grown stronger. God is very well aware of you. God knows who you are. He knows what your struggles are. When you recognize that He knows this, and that the storms of our lives will make us better and put us into the situation to where we need to be if we will just not curse the storm, we can learn, and it will renew us. I worry so much about so many of our friends and family and you. I worry so much of those who are in the depths of despair and think there is no way out, that think their life is not worth living. That is the whisper of lies. Let's move forward together toward the promising horizon, knowing that all will be well in the end. We've done it before, and if we do it again, we will triumph. We will demonstrate to the world again the indomitable American spirit.